Hello there, I'm Mrs. Groovy Groves and I'm here to help you with the area and perimeter of composite shapes. I have this as 3 different worksheets and there's 12 questions. So we're going to be talking about area and perimeter of composite shapes. So the first question says find the area of the composite figure. Remember that area is the number of square units that fits inside a shape. So the 2 shapes that I see is a rectangle and a triangle. So I need both of those formulas. So I'm going to start off with my area of a rectangle formula, which is base times height, and my triangle formula, which is base times height divided by 2. So now let's focus in on the rectangle. The base is 18 and the height is 12. So we have 18 times 12, and that would be 216. So now let's take a look at the triangle. Remember that the height of a triangle is perpendicular to the base. So if this is 18, if the bottom is 18, the top is 18. So I'm going to write 18 as well in a little 90-degree symbol. So my plug for this would be 18 times 7 divided by 2. All right, 18 times 7 is 126, and divided by 2, half of that would be 63, ladies and gentlemen. So now, since the whole thing, well, it's not really shaded, but it technically should be, because you're finding the area of the whole composite figure. So since we're finding out the area of the whole figure, we need to add 216 plus 63, and we would get 279, and that would be yards squared, and I'm going to put A for area, and I'm going to box it. All right, moving on to number 2. Find the area of the composite figure. So I see a rectangle. So I need base times height. And I also see half of a circle, so I need my circle formula, which is pi times r squared. Okay, so regarding my rectangle, the base of the rectangle is 10 and the height is 8. So you have 10 times 8. 10 times 8 is 80. Now this one right here, again, if this is 8, so is this, and that would be the diameter. So the diameter would be 8. And if the diameter is 8, then that means r is 4. And we need to plug in r. So I have 3.14 times 4 squared. 4 squared is 16. So 3.14 times 16 is 50.24. Now I have half of a circle. I don't have an entire circle. So I'm going to divide this by 2 because of the half circle, and I would get 25.12. Now, since I have the area of the rectangle and this is the area of the half circle, what I have to do is I have to add those 2 numbers up. So we would get 105.12. You could say square feet or feet squared. Both of those are acceptable answers. All right, moving on to number 3. Find the area of the composite figure. So now what do we see? I see 2 rectangles right here, and I see 1/4 of a circle. Okay, so I need my rectangle formula. I just like to write my formulas down, so it kind of like makes me think, what all information do I need to have? So if we look at the rectangle, the base is 5 and the height is 3. And on the second rectangle, the base is 3 and the height is 5. So those 2 rectangles have the same dimension. So I'm just going to do this. I'm going to do 5 times 3 which is 15. And I'm going to times that by 2 for the fact that there's 2 rectangles. And that would be 30. So now, if you take a look at this quarter of a circle, you should recognize that this portion right here, this 3, would be considered the radius of the circle. So R would be 3. So now we go ahead and do our plug and chug thing with 3 as the, so 3 squared, that's 9. I have 3.14 times 9. And when you multiply that out, you would get 28.26. Now, because you have 1/4 of a circle, I'm going to divide this by 4 because of the fact that we're going to cut it into fourths. So 28.26 divided by 4 is 7.065. So now I found the area of the 2 rectangles, and I'm going to add that to the area of the quarter of a circle. It doesn't really say to round to the tenths or hundredths place, so I just kept all of the digits. So, ladies and gentlemen, my final answer is area equals 37.065 centimeters squared. Bam. Number 4, find the area of the composite figure. So, once again, we have half of a circle and we have a triangle. So let's write this down. We have area of a triangle is equal to base times height divided by 2, and area of a circle, which is pi times r squared. Okay, so I know the base of the triangle is 10. I need to know what this is. But since this is half of a circle, and I know that this is 6, this is a radius, I know this piece would be 6 as well. So the height of the triangle would be 6. So I have 10 times 6 divided by 2. I would have 60 divided by 2, and half of 60 would be 30. Now for the circle, I would have 3.14 times 6 squared. 3.14 times 36. That would be 113.04. Now, because I have half of a circle, I'm going to slice it into halves. I'm going to divide it by 2. So that would get me 56.52. And now I know the area of the triangle and the area of the 1/4 of the circle. So I got to piece it together by adding up those two numbers. So I would get area to equal 86.52 centimeters squared. Bam. Number 5. Okay, more shaded region. All right, I see a square and a circle. So let's write our formulas. And let's identify R. As you can see, R is 4 in the circle. And you should know that since this whole thing, this is the diameter of the circle. So remember that any diameter, all diameters would be 8. So this horizontal diameter would be the same distance as this. So I know that this is a square because this would have to be 8. So my plug would be 8 times 8, which is 64. And now for my circle, I'm going to do 3.14 times 4 squared. 4 squared is 16. 16 times 3.14 is 50.24. And now I have the 64 minus 50.24 I am subtracting because this part is shaded, ladies and gentlemen. These problems are shaded, so we need to find only the purple shaded region here. Okay, so when you subtract, you should get 13.76 feet squared, and that would be the area. All right, number 6, find the area of the shaded region to the nearest tenth. All right, I spy with my eye an inner circle with a radius of 36, and I see an outside circle with a radius of 50. Do you see it too? I'm going to say r equals 36 and r equals 50. So I need to run the circle formula 2 times. Pi times r squared. So I have 3.14 times 50 squared. 50 squared is 2,500. And 2,500 times pi would be 7,850. All right. Now I'm going to do the same thing with a smaller with the inner circle. So I would have 3.14 times 36 squared. 36 squared is 1,296. And times that by pi, you would get 4,069.44. Now, what do we do with those two numbers? Well, only this is being shaded here. Okay? I'm not going to shade all of it, but you get it. I don't know. There's something a little relaxing about coloring with this iPad pencil. Ooh, okay, so 7850.00 minus 4069.44, and your resulting area would be 3,780.56 feet squared. Alrighty, number 7, find the area of the shaded region. All right, the two shapes that I see a rectangle, which is the base times height, and I also see a trapezoid. You guys should know what this trapezoid formula. That's height times, in parentheses, the quantity of base 1 plus base 2, all divided by 2. Let's start off with the rectangle formula. The base of the rectangle is 16, and the height is 9. So you have 16 times 9. 16 times 9 let's see something. I have 16 times 9. That would be 144. I think I'm looking at my notes and I have something wrong on my notes, so I apologize. Okay, the height of the trapezoid would be 4, because remember that the height is always perpendicular to the base. So I would have 4 times, so one of the bases is 5 and the second base is 11. So you could say 11 plus 5 or 5 plus 11, it really doesn't matter. All divided by 2. So 11 plus 5 is 16. 4 times 16. 4 times 16 is 64. And half of 64 is 32. So now what we have to do is we have to take the area of the rectangle minus the area of the trapezoid, and we would get 112. 112 centimeters squared. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just looking at my notes and my notes are wrong. Okie dokes. Okay, so let's move on to the next problem. That would be number 8. So what do I see? What do you see? Did you say a rectangle? I hope so. So that's base times height. And then half of a circle. So I have pi times r squared. So let's think about this. Okay, so if this is 4, that means the radius would be 4 here. Okay, so we know that r is 4. Okay, and if you know that's 4, you know this is 4 as well. Okay, and this would be a radius as well, so that would be 4. And this would be a radius of 4 as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, what's 4 plus 4? Good, it's 8. So this whole segment is 8. So, ladies and gentlemen, the base and the height of the rectangle would be 4 times 8, which is 32. All right, now let's run the formula of a circle, area of a circle. And I would have 3.14 times 4 squared. Again, 3.4 squared is 16. And 16 times 3.14 is 50.24. Now, because of the fact that I have half of a circle, I'm going to divide this by 2. So I would have 25.12. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the area of the rectangle, which is 32.00, minus 25.12, and that would be 6.88 yards squared, or square yards, however you want to say it or write it. All right, moving on to number 9. 9, 10, 11, and 12 are going to be all about perimeter problems, okay? So the perimeter, I'm going to outline the perimeter. These are going to be a slam dunkaroo. The dashed line is not part of the shape, okay? If this side is 12, then the opposite side would be 12 as well. And if this side is 10, the top would be 10. That means the diameter of that circle is 10. Okay? Okay, so I want to add this 12 plus 10 plus 12. Okay, that's going to be a slam dunk. So 12 plus 10 plus 12. That would be 34. Okay? Now, I need to find the outside length of a circle. Do you remember what formula that was? Because that's C equals pi d, ladies and gentlemen. And all we have to do is take 3.14 times 10 to get 31.4. But that's the circumference of a whole circle. I'm going to slice this in half because of the fact that we have half of a circle. So 31.4 divided by 2 is 15.7. And now what I'm going to do with those two numbers, now I found the distance of these three sides. I found the distance of the half circle. So all I have to do is I have 34.0 plus 15.7 for a perimeter answer and final answer of 49.7, and it's feet. Don't say feet squared, area is squared. Perimeter is just regular units and that's it. Okay, number 10. Let me help you see this. What's the perimeter? I have these three sides. And I also have this half of a circle again, okay? So let's understand something here. This line, this measurement is the diameter of the circle. So that diameter would be 12. And then if this side is 7, this side is 7. These little tick marks means that they're congruent. That means that they have the same length. So let's add 7 plus 8. That would get us 22, okay? Those three sides add up to 22. Now let's do C equals pi d. And I would have 3.14. We just established that the diameter was 12. 3.14 times 12 would be 37.68. And that's for half of a circle. So I'm going to slice it in half. And I would get 18.84. So now I got to add the 22.00 plus the 18.84 because I want to know what the perimeter is. And the perimeter would be 40.84. And that would be just meters. That's it. Alrighty, number 11. So the two shapes that we see would be a rectangle, which is base times height. And I see two half circles, and two half circles makes one entire circle. So let's understand that, what am I doing? It says find perimeter. I apologize. Oh, I'm so glad I caught that mistake. Okay, the two purple sides. If the bottom is 25, that means the top would be 25 as well. Okay, so, okay, hold on, I'm just looking at my notes. So, I have 25 plus 25, that would get me 50, okay? Now let's talk about this. This would be the diameter of the circle, which means the diameter of the circle would be, the diameter of the circle would be 15. So I need C equals pi d. C equals pi d, I have 3.14 times 15. That would equal 47.1. And now what I would have to do, so I just found this there. So I'm not going to, that's this right here, the 47.1. Two half circles make one full circle. So I'm going to add both numbers up, 50.0 plus 47.1 to get 97.1 yards. That would be the perimeter. Okay, last but not least. All right. This is my quarter of a circle. And then this would be everything else. Okay, hold on. Let me highlight. I'm going to highlight in blue. Okay, let's use logic and common sense. If the top is 8, that means the bottom is 8. So I know the bottom is 8. Okay? If this side is 15 and this is 6, I know what this is. Please tell me that you subtract 15 minus 6. 15 minus 6 would be 9. So that means this piece right here is 9. And ladies and gentlemen, you know this is the radius is 6, which means this is the radius as well. So that would be 6 as well. So now I'm going to add all the blue pieces together. 6 plus 9 plus 8 plus 15 plus 8. Okay, what does that add up to? That adds up to 46 units. 46 inches, okay? And now, if we know that R is 6, then we know that the diameter would be 12. So we need to roll with the C equals pi d formula. So I have 3.14 times 12. That would be 37.68. But I don't have an entire circle, ladies and gentlemen. I have a fourth of a circle. So I'm going to divide this by 4. And I would get 9.42. And now I am able to add up all of that together. And I would get the perimeter to equal 55.42 inches. That is it, ladies and gentlemen. I hope I have helped you. This is Mrs. Groovy Groves signing out. Have a wonderful day.